Grand Rising Divine Legends. I am Reverend Gina Jenkins here with Yada Yoga, therapeutic yoga for services. And today we are going to be stretching in the beginning. And we're going to start in that supported supine position that I like to be on the back with the knees knocking together. And I'm going to get us into the practice pretty quickly, getting us up on our feet and bringing energy back into the body. And then coming back down onto the mat and stretching some really nice, juicy stretches there at the end. The point of this practice, I've been packing all day. I've been, down crouching and moving and stuffing and all the things that go along with packing up a kitchen. It was the kitchen that got packed today. And so I'm coming in here to stretch, but also revitalize for the rest of the day, because I can tell it's, that mid-afternoon point where the body can tend to get a little sluggish. The mind even can get a little sluggish. And we can tend to even be a little shorter with our emotional sovereignty. So I want to come back and tend, because I recognize yoga, right? The practice is so much about bringing us back into alignment with the truth of who we are. So I'm going to open this up with the spiritual mind treatment, and we are going to get into the practice. So if you'd like to take your hands and rub them together to remind yourself you're a powerful creator. And you can stay right where you are, keeping the hands together at the heart center. Or I like to also suggest, if you want to feel your body, feel that heart that beats for you, that's always beating just for you. One hand on the heart, the other hand on top of that hand, closing the eyes down, taking a big breath together and letting that go. And as I take that breath, just coming back into the awareness that I am, that I am, that I am, that I am. And as the great infinite is, I am expressing through me as me. I recognize it is in this practice that I once again get out of my own way. I slow down. I stop overthinking. I revitalize the body. I bring back into the body peace, the peace of knowing that all is well. Truly, all is well. All is unfolding perfectly, permanently, as I know that I have aligned to the infinite is within me, the unconditional love, the infinite wisdom, and knowing that this practice will bring peace, vitality, and the reminder of who we actually are in this lifetime back into our awareness. And so knowing that this practice realigns us back to the truth, I lift this word up into the divine mind. I release it with so much gratitude to share this practice with you. And together we say, so it is. Divine Legends, lay yourself back, get in that supine, supported. So it's the feet wide to the edges of the mat and the knees knocking together. And I'm not going to remove the hair because I have a little bit of a clip. It isn't bothering my neck. I'm going to leave my hair right where it is. But I'm going to just notice that I'm not pulling my chin up and crunching my neck at all. I keep the neck lengthened. And I keep that chin even. Oop, something's flying over my face. Oops. One hand on the heart, the other hand on the belly to begin, and let's take some cleansing breaths to start the practice. So big inhale through the nose and then audibly awing out the mouth. Two more times. Keep the back breath in the body. Inhaling, exhaling through the nose. Hear your breath on the back of the throat, that Ujjayi breath. One more here. Spreading the arms, shoulder height, palms up. If that feels right for you, stay there. Goal post feels better. Shoulders opening up a little deeper, stay there. Knees come apart, start to windshield wiper side to side. I love to start the practice this way, just getting into the hips and the pelvic area right away, just starting to open up. And maybe going slow enough, matching breath with movement and turning your head the opposite way of your knees. Two more breaths. Drawing the feet parallel to the hips, a little closer to your glutes. Hands down by the side, palms down. Fingers may find the heels or be very close to the heels. Plant your heels and your ball of your feet on the mat. Pull your belt around your waist. Take an inhale and lift your hips up. And one vertebrae at a time down on the exhale, lengthening the tailbone at the end. 3 of those. Cross your right leg over your left. Bring your knees towards your chest, maybe tucking the right toes behind the left calf, maybe just letting them hang close by, hugging the thighs together. Spread the arms out wide. Take your left arm on top of your right arm, eagle arms, finding the shoulders with the hands or the palms together. Take an inhale, spread your elbows and your knees apart. Exhale, crunch them together. 2 more. Go back 2 feet wide. Windshield wiper the legs, arms can stay wide or goal post. Turn your head the opposite direction. Match breath to movement. Two more breaths here. You're going to bring your knees into your chest. You can hug behind the knee or on top of the shin. Try not to squeeze your knee joints. Rock across the low back just a few times just to get into that myofascia on the surface. Break that up a little bit. And then we're going to rock the length of the spine the other direction. So you want to cross your heels for that. And you're going to rock back and forth along the whole length of the spine. Maybe all the way up to the shoulder blades. I got a couple more in me. It feels so good after being in the kitchen packing all day. 2 more. This last one, I'm going to come all the way over into tabletop from that seated position, placing those hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. and beginning to right away just wag your tail side to side. We kind of get into the wrists and the hips this way, just starting to wake all of the joints up. Come through center and cat-cow some breath. I like to tuck my toes when I lift the chin and the tailbone, and then exhaling, pushing the floor away, tucking the chin in, tops of feet pressing into the mat. Few breaths like this. You can add more movement as it feels good to you, as you intuitively begin to move deeper into the postures, just warming all your joints up. One more. And then I'm going to stretch our wrists really good while we stretch the feet. So tucking the toes behind you, pulling out those little toes that don't come on their own. I sit back on the heels. If it feels too intense or you want to make it less intense, you come up, heels off of your hips, off your heels. So I brought my knees together. They were a little bit further apart than I wanted them to be. That felt right. I'm going to sit back on the heels, stretch the feet out, arms out in front, right over left, turn the palms together, one thumb on top, cross the fingers, pull the arms in and out. Shoulders soft away from the ears, breathe there. One more breath. We inhale, lengthen the arms and cross the fingers, lift up. And exhale, float the arms down. I'm going to come forward, pat the feet out between sides. Being extra nice to my body today, tucking those toes again, pulling out the little one, sitting back on the heels, or if that's too much and you had enough on the feet stretch, you're here. Left over, right, palms together, other thumb on top, pull the arms in and out, drop the shoulders, breathe. One more breath. Lengthen, uncross, inhale, lift. Exhale, float the arms down. Again, come forward, pat the feet out. And we're going to come into our first down dog right away. So fingers, spread them. Find the heel of your hand and the tips of the fingers, top, short edge. Tuck your toes. Inhale, hover the knees. Exhale, lift the hips, down dog. Start to walk your dog right away. One heel down, bending the opposite knee. And then when you're ready, we'll be here just for a couple more breaths. Maybe crossing the knee over the midline, getting into the IT band a little bit. You'll start to baby step in. So tiny little steps, pressing the heel down. Each time you come close to your fingers, you'll tent them to stay connected to the mat, walking all the way up to that short edge of your mat. When you get there, bend your knees so they don't lock out, belly resting on the thighs, heavy head. Grab opposite elbows with your hands, sway gently side to side. Stay with your breath. Come through center, release those hands to the floor. Roll up like a rag doll. Keep your arms heavy, keep the chin tucked, one vertebrae at a time. Last piece to come up will be the chin. You'll roll the shoulders first when you get tall, and then slowly that chin comes up. We let the blood come back. Top of the mat, find your mountain pose. Feet are parallel. Your hips grounding down to the balls of your feet and the heels. Rolling shoulders back away from the ears, pulling the pelvic floor in and up, making sure it's even, not tilting back or forward, but even, belt tight, palms forward, and we'll begin an intermediate practice. Here we go. Take a big inhale up. Come through heart center as you fold forward, bending through the hips. Halfway lift with your next inhale. Exhale, forward fold, root down, rise up, sweep up with the inhale, palms meet at the top, maybe look up to find your palms, they draw down with the exhale through heart center, 2 more times like that, inhale, reach up, exhale, fold down, halfway lift, hold, root down, rise up, sweep up with the inhale, maybe look up, draw down through heart center on the exhale. Last time. Arms might go wide this time, and rather than through heart center. Halfway lift. Fold down. Rise up. Exhale through heart center. Shift onto the left leg. Don't dump into the hips. Stay lifted, belt tight. Flex the right foot. Knee up to hip height. Take a breath. As you exhale, step back into warrior one, angling that foot at a 45-degree angle, making as much space for your hips as you need, maybe taking that foot all the way to the outside edge. You can go as wide as your hips need. Draw that back hip forward. Keep that front knee over your ankle, even your pelvic floor out, softening that tailbone. Belt is tight, shoulders are soft. Hands can be pressed together at heart center or lifted overhead. And when we lift up, the elbows or shoulders lift with us, we drop the shoulders back away from the ears. Back edge of your foot slicing into that mat. You feel that whole stretch happening down your IT band. You are breathing. You are sweating a bit, yes, because we're in the big muscles. We are starting to work and energize the body, taking one more breath here. We're going to open up into warrior two right away. You're going to take the feet parallel, this time front heel lining up with that back arch. Keep those hips even, shoulders right over hips, front knee opening up to your pinky toe. You still find that back edge of your back foot. You're still finding that stretch along your back IT band. Arms are at shoulder height. You're gazing down that second finger and we're going to flow it. Reach forward, flip your palm up and exalt your warrior. You're going to extend the warrior next. You can use that front leg to drop your arm. Don't dump down. Stay lifted up. Arm straight up to the sky or over the ear. We're going to flow this. Inhale, exalt. Don't straighten the front leg. Keep that knee over your ankle. Exhale into your extended warrior 2 more times. Inhale, exalt. Exhale, extend. 1 more. Inhale, exalt. Exhale, extend. We'll cartwheel down, low lunge, finding that back ball of our foot, framing the front foot with the hands. Little twist here. Draw that right hand a little closer to the left foot. Reach that left arm up. We're going to circle it back to our back heel and up in front of us. 2 more. Big circle with this arm. Keep the breath coming. Straight up to the sky again. And back down, framing the foot. Find your plank pose. Hold. Hands are spread. Finding the tips of the fingers, heels of the hands, right under the shoulders. Knees are up with your shoulders. Not down here. Not even here. Your abs work more when you lift them up to shoulder height and you stay in good alignment. Saving your joints. Don't tuck your chin. You're gazing out your front edge, keeping a long neck and spine. 1 more breath. We'll move through high-low push-up. Shifting forward on the toes. You can stay there and lower halfway or come to the knees. Press the tops of the feet all the way. Elbows skimming the body if possible. Shoulders away from the ears. Up dog or baby cobra. And down dog with your exhale, either pushing hips back to your heels with your toes tucked and lifting from there, or rolling over your feet if you know that's in your practice. Walking stepping or hopping to your front edge. Taking a halfway lift with your next inhale. Exhale, fold down. Root down, rise up. Sweep up, maybe look up. Exhale through heart center. We'll go to that other side. I'll just switch mats. So belt tight, we shift into the right leg. Not dumping into the hips, stay lifted. Flex the left foot as you draw it up. Knee in line with your hip. Take a breath. Exhale, steps back into warrior one. We slice that foot at that 45-degree angle, coming as far out to the edge as we need to get our hips to be able to pull that back hip forward. That back foot lined up with your front foot is not going to allow space for the hips. You got to separate the feet. If you've had babies, especially, soften the tailbone, keep the belt tight around your waist, shoulders soft away from the ears. And remember, we can be here with the hands, pressing the hands together so the arms stay engaged, or lifted with the shoulders soft, dropping away from the ears. Keep that front knee over your ankle, taking one more breath here. And then we open into that warrior two. Taking that foot now in line with the front foot, lining front back arch to front heel. All those little points, we usually come into warrior two here. We got to lift the shoulders over the hips. With that knee opening up, you see your big toe. You find the back edge of your foot. Arms stay at shoulder height, gazing down that second finger. Inhale, reach forward, flip your palm, exalt your warrior. Extended warrior next. We have those options of straight up to the sky or over the ear, and we're going to flow this. Inhale, exalt. Exhale, extend. Inhale, exalt. Exhale, extend. Inhale, exalt. Exhale, extend. Cartwheel down, finding that back ball of your foot, framing the front foot. Draw that left hand a little closer. Reach that right arm up. Sweep it back to that back heel and forward two more times using your breath. Reaching it straight up. Frame the foot. Find your plank pose. Hold for 3 breaths. Belt tight. Shoulder blades nice and wide. Long neck and spine, gazing out that front edge. Last breath. And then moving through your high-low push-up, knees or toes. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, down dog. 3 full breaths here. Walking, stepping, or hopping to your front edge. Halfway lift with your next inhale. We'll roll up like a rag doll, like we did in the beginning. Go slow, keep your arms heavy, keep your chin tucked. 1 vertebrae at a time, slowing the practice back down. Shoulders roll, then the chin lifts, letting that blood come slowly back into your head. We're going to do some balancing hip opener poses next. It's a figure 4, standing figure 4. And so if you want to move yourself toward a support system, that can be a shelf, countertop, a wall, a chair. I've got a chair in this room. I've got a lot of options. I have a bookshelf that I could use if I just want to have the option. It doesn't mean I'm going to use it, but it can help mentally, psychologically, to have that support system right next to you in balanced postures. We're going to start balancing on the left leg, lifting the right leg. So I mentioned earlier, but balance, the key to balanced postures always is have everything turned on. So you want to tighten the belt. Shoulders are always soft away from the ears. With that belt really tight right away. And then I mentioned it earlier, but what I'll see in classes is when we're shifting into a leg to lift the opposite leg, I'll see a dumping into that leg. And that's what that looks like. It looks like I shifted and I dumped down into that hip. You want to stay nice and lift it. Belt is tight and you're lifting out of that leg even as you're shifting the weight into that leg, and then flexing your right foot right away as you draw it up off the floor, so that with everything engaged, you're probably going to find more success in your balance poses. The last piece I'll mention is finding something on the floor or wall in front of you that's not moving. If you are looking at me the whole time, I'm moving around even slightly, you're going to find you're not as going to hold the balance as easily as when you find a point to stare at that's not moving. That's a real key to balance. So flexing, turn everything on. We're drawing it up. Hands are pressing at heart center, and it's that figure 4. So it's over the left leg, and then I'm sitting my hips back. And see, I've got my drishti point, the point I'm looking at on the floor, not moving, knowing that if I look up at myself, I'll fall out of this. Keeping this foot flexed, and I'm sitting my hips back with a flat back. I'm not rounding over at all. And as I go deeper down with the hips, I'm just opening this hip even more. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then come out of this slowly, if you can. I tried to lift that leg up nicely and then set it down. It's okay. I'm going to roll this ankle out both directions. A lot of weight on these legs today. And I'm giving myself grace. It's okay, right? Part of the practice is bringing that grace, that tenderness, that compassion into our practice, not judging ourselves, not having expectations that are unrealistic for any point in our day. All right, balancing on that other side. So if you've got to move yourself to a support system, do it. And we do the very same thing. Belt tight, don't dump into this right leg, shoulders soft away from the ears, and flexing this left foot right away. Hands can be at heart center pressing so that you have that as well. Lifting that knee up, crossing it over that right leg and sitting down, keeping that left foot flexed. Find your drishti, your point to stare at that's not moving, and just find with the breath you're moving those hips down little by little, getting deeper into this hip stretch. We've got 2 more breaths here. Make sure the shoulders are away from the ears, not lifting up there. And then coming out of this as gracefully as you may have on this side. Yes, it's okay. Do some twisting side to side. Let's release that all the way. I'm going to take us into breath of joy next before we find ourselves coming down for some stretching on the back end of this practice. So a few more here, just letting it all go. And then coming to the top of your mat for the breath of joy. And I've demoed this before, but I love this, especially for revitalizing in the middle of an afternoon to take me into the evening with more energy. I love this breath. It's a 3-part inhale, starting in the belly, then the chest, then the throat, with a big, audible exhale. And the arm movements that go along with the breath is when that first part comes out of the belly, the arms are swinging up in front of you. When we take that breath into the chest, the second part of the breath, the arms are coming to the side. When the breath is coming up into the throat, we're bringing arms all the way up. And then we're audibly exhaling and swinging low the arms. And we'll do several rounds and I'll demonstrate for you what it looks like. It looks like this. Just like that. So big, starting that breath in the belly, and it's a, and then ah it out. So the best of your ability, and we're gonna do 5. We're gonna do 5 rounds of breath of joy. Here we go. Last one. Finding mountain pose with hands at heart center, shoulders soft away from the ears, pelvic floor even, tailbone soft, grounded down through your feet, kneecaps lifted so your quads are engaged. Closing the eyes or having them heavy, just check in. Just notice. You might be a bit breathless. Your heart is beating, perhaps a little glistening even on the forehead if you're warm in your area. And just notice your heart. 2 more breaths here. Good, letting those go. We're gonna just come right back onto our backs and we're gonna stretch out. So come on down onto your back. I'm gonna take my hair clip out again. And we will lengthen this left leg out. And yes, you see me, I'm taking my hair off my neck because I like to keep that neck nice and long, with that chin slightly tucked, protecting this neck. We're gonna bring that left leg long, right leg into the chest, roll the ankle out both directions. Take it up to the sky, point flex, roll one direction, then the other. Grab hold of either outside edge, inside arch, or big toe. Bring that big knee down to your armpit, get that one-legged happy baby, and you can stay there breathing into that or move that heel in and out. Stretching the back of that leg, getting one more breath. Bring that knee into your chest. You're going to take your left hand over the knee. Keep your left foot into the earth to stack your hips. Bring that knee over. Keep that left hand on the knee. Right arm can go long or even goal pose. That's going to open the shoulder even more if you can handle that. Or maybe midway. You do you, what feels good there. And maybe the gaze turns down that side. And just notice, are you holding tension in your bottom hip? Can you release even further on that left hip on the floor? One more breath. Belt tight as you come to your back. We'll take that right leg long on the mat and we'll draw the left knee into the chest, roll the ankle out both directions. Lift that leg up right away to the sky, point, flex, roll one direction, then the other. Find your one-legged happy baby on this side, drawing outside edge, inside arch, or big toe. Staying there or moving that heel in and out. Your right hip's popping up off the mat. You use that right hand on your hip to anchor it down. Stay with your breath. Knee into chest. We'll dig that right foot in. Right hand on the outside of the left knee. Stack the hips first, then draw the knee across. Guide the knee down with the right hand. Use some pressure there to release the bottom hip underneath you. Long left arm, maybe goalpost, maybe somewhere in between. Gazing down that side, 2 more breaths. Tight belt as you come back onto your back. We're going to come all the way onto the tummy and get a Sphinx pose. So I'm going to actually switch positions so that you can see what I'm doing. And I'm not going to just have my head away from you. So I'll come actually to this mat here and come onto my belly. I'm going to line my elbows up right under my shoulders. Let me clip my hair really quick here again so it's out of my face as we get into these final postures of the practice. So elbows under the shoulders, hands, spread them. Feet planted into the mat. And we're not lifting so much that we're crunching the low back. Pulling those palms toward us. Gazing out. And feeling that belt tight as you press the tops of the hands into the mat. Taking breaths here. And then as it feels good to you, this is optional. You might shift the weight into one side of the body as you extend one arm and gaze over that shoulder. I felt a cramp in this foot. That's why you see me flexing it. Foot was cramping. And just breathe through this. So inhaling through center and exhaling. Flow through that a few times. To end our practice, we're going to come into child pose. So I'm going to encourage you to get into the child pose that you want to end your practice in. And I'm going to end us there. And the point is to really find that deep relaxation and peace. As we've revitalized the body, we also want to, with the breath, bring the peace back in the full alignment into the wholeness that you and I actually are. So find the child pose that you want to end your practice in. And I'll tell you, knees together is going to support your low back better. And props are welcome at this point. If you have pillows, if you have blocks, bolsters, anything that might prop your head up, if you're going to have trouble getting your head all the way to the floor, which many do. So I would say get some props around your house that are going to help bring that floor up closer to your head. Keep your knees together if you want more support on the low back as you come down into the child pose. And this can be a little harder to get the head down with your knees together. That's why I'm suggesting go get a pillow, go get a block, go get a bolster, maybe even a blanket, fold it up thickly. If you can handle knees wide, it's going to open the hips a little more. But for those of you with tight hips, that's not going to feel good. So you got to know you and do what feels good to you. If you come knees wide, keep your big toes together. Keep the hips back by the heels, and you're just coming down into your child pose. And while you're here, if it's available to you, to turn the gaze from side to side with your forehead either on your mat or on your pillow or your block or your blanket, massaging the forehead, taking some tension out of the neck as we turn the head side to side. Stay with your breath. And then for your final breaths, come to some stillness. Everything very heavy. Arms heavy, hips heavy. head heavy. Take one final breath, big inhale. Open mouth, exhale audibly. And then breathing on your own. Checking in, just noticing where any breath you might concentrate in the body. If you're tight, if you notice anything in the body that may need a little more breath, this is where it's at. Focus your breath there. And this is an exploratory part of the practice. So I'm going to leave you here. I'm not going to bring you out like I traditionally may do in a lot of my classes, but allow you to stay here as long as you desire. Exploring your body, exploring your mind, exploring your emotional landscape, and just really truly coming back into alignment. And with that, I will say, namaste.